When you bring your baby home from the hospital, you have everything prepared, the changing table, the crib, and the crib is certainly one of the most important things to have ready. So we're going to talk today about how the crib should look and should not look. Marta Pierzadeh is with us from the NC Healthy Start Foundation. Thank you for coming back.
Thank you, Paige.
So let's talk about this crib.
Well, what do you see when you see this crib?
All kinds of stuff.
That's right. There's a lot going on here with this crib, but this is a typical crib that a family who brings home a new baby would have: bumper pads, stuffed animals, lots of blankets. And what's going on with this crib is that there are also potential risk factors for the baby to suffocate in this crib. And so when we talk about infant safe sleep, the most important thing we talk about is sleep position. For SIDS risk reduction, you want to make sure your baby's sleeping on their back. But also when we talk about infant safe sleep, we want to make sure that we're addressing things like suffocation and strangulation. And if you think about a baby under 1 year of age, particularly in the first 3 months of age or so, a big heavy blanket like this, if baby scooches under that blanket, he's going to have a really hard time pushing it off of him or getting out from under it to get fresh air. So that's why a blanket like this would get out of the crib. Same thing with this, actually. Even though this is a nice warm blanket, perfect if you're carrying your baby in the car seat or, you know, outside where it's cool. But inside your home, the temperature should be between 68 and 75 degrees.
Okay.
And
no higher than 75.
No higher than 75 degrees. Baby doesn't really need a blanket like this if it's 70 degrees in your house. Mm-hmm. So
keep the room a comfortable temperature so that you don't need those blankets.
That's right. If the room is around 70 degrees, you don't need all that.
Okay.
And what the American Academy of Pediatrics recommends for a blanket is a lightweight, preferably cotton blanket. And so that's the only kind of blanket that you would really need for your baby. And then if it were tucked in,
so we tuck in the sides and tuck in the base.
That's
so
right.
That the baby can't move it. Okay. And how about the bumper?
Well, the bumper pads are always a controversial issue because people think about bumper pads as providing safety for their baby, so you don't bump your head or get your arms caught in the slats here. But the truth is, again, the American Academy of Pediatrics does not recommend using bumper pads. What do you think? What's the hazard with a bumper pad?
If you get your face stuck in it, they can't roll over and can't breathe.
That's right. Little babies who can't quite roll over can easily get their face stuck up against that. Or, as you know, these ties come loose all the time. This could be a potential suffocation or strangulation hazard. So the AAP actually recommends taking the bumper pad out of the crib.
Now, as Marta said beforehand, if you're wondering at home, which I know all of my friends said this to me when I said we're going to do this segment, if you take your bumper out, your kid's going to bump their head, they're going to get their arm caught, and they're going to wake themselves up. That maybe shouldn't be your that could be true, but maybe that shouldn't be your biggest concern.
That could be true. The baby might wake up the first few times, but just like back sleeping, parents who say that their babies sleep better on their stomachs learn that by putting their baby on their back continually, they learn and sleep comfortably on their back. Same thing. Babies will learn to stay away from the sides, not bump their heads. And as I've had pediatricians tell me in the past, they have never seen a baby die by bumping their head or getting their arms or legs stuck between the slats, but they have seen babies die by being suffocated with the bumper pads.
Also, no stuffed animals.
That's right. Stuffed animals, same thing. I mean, these are little stuffed animals, but imagine big, fluffy teddy bears. All they need to do is cover the nose cavity of the baby, and then it could become a suffocation hazard. Again, we're pretty much talking about newborns, the first 6 months up to a year, but really those first 6 months when the baby just can't get rid of this stuff. And in addition to SIDS, which we talked about in another segment, we're talking about accidental sleep-related deaths. These are not SIDS deaths. These are an additional 25 to 30 deaths every year in North Carolina by babies who are suffocated or strangled in their cribs.
Very, very preventable if we keep the crib nice and simple like this. Marta, thank you again for the tips.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming back. And we will, of course, be taking more questions. If you have any, feel free to email them to us.
Very good. Thank you.
We'll be right back after the break.